Issues at hand, WBS TV. We are talking tourism. Peter Kibazo with Amos Wekesa. Amos is a player in the sector. He doesn't work for government. Ochom. Greg Ochom says those guys in government. No, Greg. Amos is a player in the industry. He doesn't work for government. Quickly, point us to things you can do with or without government as a sector that would give throttle to this industry.
I think what the sector now needs is, one, the people that have invested a lot of money to become forerunners in negotiating. It would be very nice to have a front line of Sudil, BMK, Karim negotiating for the industry, meeting the leadership. Because you see, if you're in the room and they ask you how many people you employ and you say, I'm employing 180 people, and this guy is employing 3,000 people, it makes a very big difference. And that's how Kenya's tourism and Tanzania's tourism and Rwanda tourism is growing. The people that have the biggest stake stand out and negotiate for a bigger picture. So when they negotiate that way, everybody else benefits.
Do those big players actually see themselves as if they're in the tourism industry?
And like I said, the challenge in that area is that a lot of them have other businesses. And tourism or their hotels are in a way, by the way, it's not a very big thing to them. They're rich boys. And so that's the problem for Uganda. If you go to Kenya, they're professional hoteliers, Serenas of this world. If you look at people that own the big hotels in Kenya, understand directly the value of the tourism industry. The former Minister of Tourism, what's his name, Balal, owns some of the best accommodations on the beaches in Mombasa. Very rich guy. In fact, he could even use his own money to market Kenya sometimes on these fairs. He made his own connections. So that is one area. Now, but the private sector in many ways has tried. Us as individuals have gone out there. We have talked about this country. We have gone to every tourism fair. We have talked about Uganda. The challenge is that we're also not extremely very wealthy people. Yeah? In Kenya, you find a tour company owner turning over $100 million a year. That guy can afford to even spend his own money to have his own big stand in London. In fact, many of the some companies in Kenya have bigger stands than Uganda at WTM, for example, in London. Yes, that's a fact. We've just come from South Africa. We won because we had a good heart and a good dinner. But the truth is that even the smallest province in South Africa in exhibition did far better than us in South Africa. The smallest province. You could not compare with the big one.
Hello? Hello? Okay, I'll take the call when it comes. Someone is asking me about tourism and sports and says, Peter, can you ask Amos, is it possible to fuse sports and tourism? Isn't that an opportunity that we are missing?
No, that guy has a big point. And I've written about this before. The best example for...
Hold on. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, please.
Yes. Thanks for the show, Shibazi.
Welcome.
Yeah, my name is Edwin. I was trying to listen to Mr. Wekesa there, and the problem with marketing the tourism industry in Uganda, I believe, lies in the cultural aspect of it. Look at the way we market our culture. We have not given it enough attention. Because culture could go a long way, both to market us internationally and locally. Because if you're to look at the way we operate, most of the tourism aspects we look at is the natural part of it, the animals, the national parks, the mountains. But we have a very rich culture that we're not looking at, that we're not doing enough research in, that we're not giving enough attention. And these are the things that create pride. So when Ugandans are proud of what they have, that's when they will offer enough for it. But there's nowhere I can go to pay $60 or $100 in something that is value-based. Yeah. So I believe if we also invest in the cultural aspect of the tourism, it would sort us some issues. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think it is very well said. Yes, get back to the guy of sports and tourism.
Yeah, I think the guy of sports and tourism is making a very key point. You look at the UK. The UK tourism and sports are in the same docket. it makes the UK 115 billion pounds a year. You see, when we stand up and shout Arsenal, Man U, we fly to watch them, that is counted partly as tourism money. And I've said they make 115 billion pounds a year from it combined. Remember, our GDP is 22.8 billion dollars, not pounds. If you're talking pounds, you're talking about 14 billion pounds. So harnessing sports is very key. In fact, Kenya has taken advantage of it. That's why you see they have Highland training centers. People come from China, people come from all over the world to go and train in the highlands of Kenya. And therefore...
And that's the same weather that we have in Kapchora.
Absolutely, the same weather we have in Kapchora. Rwanda is now setting up a Highland training center where they're going to attract the international people to come and do it. They've just finished their research. So the challenge for Uganda is that we have too much. In fact, when you go back to this gentleman, even national parks, we have not exploited it enough. If you look at 2013, we had less than 70,000 foreigners that went to our 10 national parks and 12 game reserves combined. In 2013, there were 2.4 million Kenyans and foreigners that went to their national parks combined. 2.4 million. Tanzania, there were 760,000. So we just barely made 10% of Tanzania, and we did not make 5% of Kenya. So we haven't exploited anything.
And that is in spite of Kenya having the security problems.
Absolutely. The day we have 10% of the real tourists Kenya gets, everybody will leave what they're doing. We will all make money. We'll have no time to fight each other. That's a fact.
Of course, I have a number of guys here. Esperanza Mel says, wow, that's great, Amos. All the best for tourism growth. James Jemo says, tell Ugandans to start using tourism lenses instead of politics lenses. The biggest employer of Omuntu wa bulijjo should be tourism.
Absolutely.
Without people traveling for business or pleasure or sightseeing, the guy at the fuel pump won't get employed. Siga Elvis Drani, you have inspired the whole country. He's asking me to post this talk show on YouTube, and my producer is listening into that and should be able to do that. We are actually doing this live streaming. Someone should display the live stream link on the show so that people can... Yes, Walusimbi, if you can do that. Masiko Koni says... Yes. Is impressed by the interest and even the fact that you're going out there. And I have Ziramagezi says, please tell me, outside the Nile, what tourism opportunities do we have in Busoga?
Busoga has lots of opportunities. I was part of the people that participated in the formation of the Busoga Tourism Initiative run by Honorable Balidawa, who has done a brilliant job with the Speaker of Parliament. In fact, we drove around the Speaker of Parliament, myself, the Minister of Tourism, and Honorable Balidawa. There are places like Kaguri Hills. Just along the Nile alone, you have Kalagala, the former Bujagali with its history, the source of the Nile. In fact, if the Basogas just exploited the Nile alone, there will probably be a donor community, you know, if they took their stuff seriously. But there's so many things. Tourism is still a story. You can go to Kakira and just talk about how Kakira started. You can go to the factories and talk about how the factories were started. There's so many hills. There's so many places that Livingstone went through. There are quite a number of places in Busoga that have not been explored.
Let me read you this as we check out almost. I have a doctor here that says medical tourism could be trendy too, and says the infrastructure is a problem. And then highlights and says, Amos, this is a problem that you should attend to. Let's talk about toilets along the route to Bwindi. None. That is bad.
I agree with him 100%. But you see, every time you see a challenge, like I said, Bwana Kibaso, there's an opportunity. Let the Ugandans not blame of having no toilets. Let the Ugandans combine together and go and set up a stopover center. You have a toilet, you have a craft shop, you have a shop that sells merchandise, you have a nice restaurant. Every time you see numbers of cars passing, that shows money is passing. Make sure that money stops and you earn it. Let's not complain about this opportunity. But medical tourism is important. I'm told that Uganda spends over $100 million a year on our officers going to abroad to be treated. Now, if we turned that round and brought people in to have our doctors treat them, in fact, the challenge is that some of the best doctors, like in South Africa, somebody was telling me, he made an appointment to go and be treated in South Africa, and he finds a Ugandan treating him.
Same in Nairobi, same in Nairobi, same in several places.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Amos. It's been a pleasure hosting you here.
Thank you.
And viewers, this is to open up an opportunity for you. Think about tourism. Think about tourism locally.
Yeah.
If you are a head teacher of a school, think about taking those children to a game park. Think about taking them to the next place. Get their mind to be a lot more exploratory than sitting in the four walls of your classroom, than sitting in your office. If you're doing a workshop for your office, how about this time saying we'll take it to Kazinga Channel and do the workshop from there? Till we meet on Friday in the Face Off, good night.